So if you want to be a better driver of the golf ball, there's really 3 questions. Can you answer these questions? And if you can, leave those down in the comments below, because I think it'll help other players know where they're kind of trying to get to. But the 3 questions that I think you should be able to answer are, what is my typical smash factor on a driver? What is my spin rate with a driver? And what is my angle of attack? Or I'll even take, what is the low point of your driver swing? You can't answer those, or you don't understand why you need to know those, then this is the video for you. We're gonna make you a better driver. Let's get into it. All right, so let's talk about the 3 things that I see people struggle with. Let's define what those are, then I'm gonna show you a progression that helps get rid of all of those or fix all of these issues that you would have with the driver. So the first one is struggling with getting the center of the face lined up for impact. So many times people come in to hit their driver and they're struggling with it, and we go ahead and throw the face impact up, and we struggle with hitting the center. It's usually on the heel or the toe. Sometimes it's a little bit low, sometimes it's high, but we're never getting that club face lined up. And so for me, if it's a little low, a little high, okay, that's actually not too bad. We can work on that fairly easily with what's coming next. But hitting it on the heel, hitting on the toe is quite the challenge, because if you're hitting on the heel, you're going to hit what we call a heel fade. That ball will want to fade due to something called gear effect. Gear effect is we hit the ball off center on a driver, the club face twists, but the way this kind of works, it actually spins the golf ball the opposite way. So when we hit the heel, the club face actually closes, but the way it slides across the golf ball, it actually makes the ball curve and spin the opposite direction. Same thing if we hit it on the toe. The face is going to open, gear effect takes hold, it wants to make that ball hook on us. So we have a toe hook or we have a heel fade. We also will struggle with pop-ups, we'll struggle with tops, things like that as well, but it's really tough then to tell, hey, do we have an open club face? Do we have a path issue? Is that why you're slicing it? Is that why you're hooking it? Because when you're making contact, the face is twisting anyway, and that's what's getting affected, right? It's not getting affected necessarily by your swing, it's getting affected by the impact location. So again, what we'll see is people that typically come down and they're not getting the club down enough. They typically go out, they're keeping the club really high. Typically they're trying to hit with their hands or hit with their shoulders. And instead we want to get the club low, lined up, so we can just bring it in and have everything lined up. Feeling like everything is already really long, my arms are long, I'm getting everything extended, so that way I can actually have the center of the face lined up, and I'm not doing it last second. You can see when I bring the club down and bring it in, the club can stay low, it can get lined up, and it can just travel into the golf ball. If I go up and keep the club high, now I've got to try to last second line it up. That's not going to work. It's just too fast of a motion, way too inconsistent. That's why a lot of people are really having issues with their driver. Now, the second part of this is the club face. Getting the club face, and then result of that is the path. You need to get those lined up properly. Well, we can't get those lined up because same issue. If I was going over like this, going over or keeping the club high, what that tends to do is that tends to cup my lead wrist. And when I cup my lead wrist, you'll see that the club face starts to lean back and it's looking up at the sky. If your club face is looking up at the sky at this point in the swing, you have a lot of work to do going into the golf ball. You are going to be using your hands a ton. You're going to be working really hard to try to square up the face and just make contact. So again, if we take the same idea, we're going to get this club to travel down and line up for impact, then what we need to do is get the club face looking down at the golf ball. It's a lot easier as I'm coming down this manner to get the driver face to start squaring up. If I can get the club lined up, keeping it wide, and getting this club to travel in, then we're going to be in good shape. From a path standpoint, you also have a lot more control. If I want to hit a draw, I can feel everything stay a little more closed, everything working a little more out. If I want to hit a fade, I can rotate harder, get my path traveling more to the left for a right-handed player. I'm traveling more to the left to fade it. I have those options. I can do honestly either one, and I'm going to be successful. Now, the third thing is our angle of attack. Our angle of attack, we said we want a more level, or we want to even hit up on the driver, take some spin off of that golf ball. Well, two things that we do to make that happen. One would be setup. When we hit a driver, I don't think a lot of people realize that when I'm swinging driver, if I'm just swinging and I'm making this arc, and my swing is going on an arc, back and forth, the lowest point of that arc with the driver is behind the golf ball. If I was hitting an iron, the lowest point of that arc would be in front of the golf ball. That would be where we want to have that arc. That's because we're trying to hit the golf ball first. We're trying to hit the golf ball first. We're trying to send that golf ball in the air with spin. Again, opposite here. The golf ball's already in the air, and we're trying to take spin off it. So we get that arc a little bit more back behind us. One way that we can do that is through setup. One, we move our ball position forward. By default, that should help us get that low point of our swing more behind the ball. We can also tilt our body a little bit. I'm not a fan of a huge tilt in the swing, but you can see some people do tilt quite a bit. Just depends. It's something you might want to try, but you can tilt, and that's automatically going to move the lowest point of my swing back just a little bit. So those are two ways before you ever swing. Now, when you actually swing, if I bring the club back and I keep the club up high, well, it's going to have to go down, and it's going down later, which means the lowest point of my swing is going to be later because I'm up here so high. Now, if I bring the club back and I get the club down low, by default, the lowest point is more back here in the swing, and then I can travel up into the golf ball. Or again, we'll take something that's fairly level as you're going through to hit the golf shots. So those are the main issues that we're looking at that we're trying to correct. Now, how can we do that with a really simple progression that I think a lot of people, this resonates with a lot of people. So I've got a couple tools here. So first one, this is just a ball. This is my son's play ball that he uses and bounces. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. I'm going to grab it. I've got my left hand. I like to put the left hand on top. About, if this was straight ahead at the camera, we're putting it about like a 30-degree angle to the target side in front. Okay, and then we're going to take the trail hand, and this goes on the bottom. I want this on the bottom, basically on the opposite side of my lead hand. The reason for that is when we grip the golf club, your lead hand is more on top of the grip. Your trail hand's a little bit more under. I think there's a lot of things that we can see as we get set up. So we grab the blue ball like this, and honestly, anything's going to work. I like the size of this one. It's about the size of like a small beach ball or something. It's bigger than like a basketball, but like something like that would work as well. We're going to take this, we're going to get set up, and if I have my hands positioned properly, just in the setup, one thing you're going to notice is my trail arm here is going to feel like it's under. So for a lot of people when they do this, they get this feeling of not having their trail arm on top and their shoulders open. They automatically start to get the feeling of, hey, maybe a little bit of that natural tilt, and they're also going to feel this trail arm a little bit more under. That's going to be huge as we go through this progression of what we're looking for. So we get set up here, and what we do is we're going to make a backswing, and what I want people to do is when they make that backswing, they're going to shift into this trail foot. You're going to have all your pressure on your trail foot, or quite a bit of it, and when we shift, the first thing I want them to do is I want them to shift, and I just want them to drop the ball. So as they shift, they drop this ball to the ground. Okay? Now, where they drop it is the important part, and also how they drop it. So you'll notice two things if we're looking at it from this angle. When I drop this ball, you're going to see it's landing even with my back foot. It's landing even with my back foot. I'm not going out. I'm going back. What that's doing is getting the club to work more down. When we're thinking about a golf swing, if I bring this club back, I'm working the club down first, then the club is going to go out. What most people do is work the club out and then try to get down into the driver. It just doesn't work. So we're working on trying to shift. So I'm going to shift to my lead side, drop the ball. Shift to the lead side, drop the ball. Shift and keep that club head back and working down. We said we have to go lower so that we can get up into the golf ball. Plus it improves our ability to line up the face, and it improves our ability to control the club face, which then allows us to control path. So those are the steps that we want to do with this ball. Now, one other thing that I want to point out is this trail arm. This one is huge. When I go to drop the ball, you're going to see my trail arm is bent. It's folded up. That's what it does. And when I do this, you're going to see that my palm is to the sky. When I drop this, I want to feel like the palm is staying to the sky as much as possible. It's going to rotate in a little bit, but I don't want to excessively rotate it. I don't want to go up and throw the ball down something like this. Okay, now that's exaggerated. I don't know if people actually do it, but don't want to go this direction with that trail arm. I just want to go up, feel the ball drop. You can see I'm going down. Basically, I'm showing you my hand here to this back camera. So we do that to understand how we start transitioning that club down. So we're going to go from this lighter ball that's very bouncy to now we need to start adding some force. So the first step is with lightweight, let's just get a feel for how this movement is going to work. But the reality of the situation is when we swing driver, even though this club is very, very light as I'm holding it, due to the length and the speed that we are swinging it, and with the weight being most of the weight on the end of the club, when we swing it, it really becomes something of about 60 to 100 pounds of force, depending on how fast you swing and what type of driver and all that. That is what you're trying to control in your swing. So what I like to do is we get this sphere, this water sphere, this tidal tank. We're going to get this out, and we're going to do basically the same thing, okay? But we're adding a little bit of weight, and we're starting to work on how we time this up. And what's the feeling of how do I make this club go down, but I can also apply a little bit of force, because I do want to hit the ball far with some speed. I'm not saying you need to go easy at this. Actually, I prefer people to try to hit it far first before they try to hit it super straight. So when we get set up, I'm going to do the same drill. I'm going to bring it up. Now with this, I'm not going to actually drop it, but what I'm going to do is swing up, and as I shift, feel the water going down towards my feet. With the blue ball, we felt the orientation of where we're trying to go. Now I'm going to swing up and try to feel like I'm dumping this water onto my trail foot. Getting a little bit, hey, you get a little bit of workout as you do it too, but understanding, the timing. I like the water because when we do this, we have to feel kind of, you're riding the wave a little bit here. You bring it back and you kind of learn how to ride the wave and not fight the momentum of the water. That's an important thing with driver as we're going back. For a lot of you that are quick, that's something that you can use this for, but you're also learning where to direct that force so that you can get the club to travel properly. So again, we bring it back and go down. Probably some other things that you can use. In the past, I've used anything that kind of bends. So a bendy club or a bendy stick, something like this 13 under tool, actually really, really good, really helpful. But getting the idea of where we need to direct the force as we go down into the golf ball. Because when I go up to swing, I'm going to bring it up. As I shift, I want to get the feeling of, let's work this club down and get the club again lined up for impact, get the face more square, which is a lot easier to do if we're going down, and get the angle of attack right so I can then hit it. From there, we're ready to actually hit some golf balls. We're going to make a swing. We're going to actually start with hitting some real easy ones. We're going to bring it back. We're going to go back, down, and in. Okay, so it's back, shift, feel the water. Kind of ride that wave down. bring it in. Don't necessarily care too much how it goes. I would expect most people to hit a hook. Actually, if you're doing it right, you should hit a hook because we're not firing our body hard enough yet. But again, are we getting things lined up? Face impact, right on the money there. Got that ball to connect. Got the angle of attack. You can see angle of attack, low point. I'm hitting 4 degrees up on that thing. That's quite a bit. You can see my low point, 4.7 inches behind the golf ball or before I get to the golf ball. That's what we want with the driver. You can also see smash factor relatively high, 1.45. With the flight scope, 1.47, 1.48 is typically really good. If you have TrackMan, I think, or Quad, you'll see more like 1.50 if you're hitting it dead center. So just difference in how they read. But again, also spin rate, 2200 is going to be a good one, which I'd be curious to hear what your spin rates. Do you know what your spin rate is in your driver? That's a really, really key thing. So getting everything lined up, then I can start increasing that speed and increasing everything to hit it. But I've cured 3 of the issues I need. And then the last one, again, getting that face squared up. That face was actually 0.1 to the left. It's not open. For me personally, I would actually want it slightly open, but again, as I rotate and move my body a little bit more, it should actually just naturally open up when I start to swing harder. So when we do those little progressions, I do want to see people hit a hook. From there, we would just start, if we demonstrate that, we're going to just start hitting it with a fuller and fuller swing and work our way up, trying to feel exactly the same thing. If we need to, we can get our tools back out and start working on it again, but that is where we progress to be able to be a better driver of the golf ball. So this progression, huge, one that I think will really help you become a better driver of the golf ball. That's what I want. I want you to shoot lower scores, and I would love for you to say, hey, this is the favorite club in the bag. I'm not afraid of it. The only time you're afraid of the driver is when you literally do not have enough room. You're going to hit it too far where you go into trouble. That's the only time I want you to say, hey, I'm not going to hit this driver because it just doesn't make sense. So if you have any questions about it, I'd love to hear any comments, any questions, please leave those down below. As always, click that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. And to better driving out there, good luck with it, and thanks for watching. Peace.